I eat well, I go to the gym every day, and I play guitar. After reading 3 of these books and watching 5 of these films, I came to a conclusion and I'm not sure what it says about me. I would do pretty damn well at the Hunger Games, so all of you guys are screwed. Nevertheless, I will spare you today. My name is Ren, and this is my review of The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Welcome back, movie fans. Thank you for joining me for the reaping of a new installment in the Hunger Games franchise, the longest film based on the longest book, where we're taken 64 years into the past before the tyrannical reign of President Coriolanus Snow, when young Snow sees a chance for a change in fortunes when he mentors Lucy Gray Baird, the female tribute from District 12 on the 10th annual Hunger Games. And as a frame of reference, I'm a huge fan of the Hunger Games franchise. I still remember immediately after watching the original film over 10 years ago, I bought all 3 books and read all 3 within a month. And I am a very slow reader. So when a prequel book was announced and everyone instantly knew it would eventually be a film, I got excited. I wanted to dive more into this world that I love so much. I love the mythology that Suzanne Collins created. I love the political sphere, the societal sphere of it all. I love how in its look and feel, it simultaneously comes across as our past and our future. So while I was never too interested in a young Coriolanus Snow story, to me, if there's a Hunger Games prequel to be made, is Haymitch's game and his story and the trauma that haunts him till the end of his life. I still went to this film very excited, and it delivered all those aspects of the world building and expanding the mythology and explaining where all that we know of the Hunger Games has come from. This film delivers that in spades. It expands on the dark, dystopian world of Panem as a prequel that offers a singular retro feel and aesthetic to the entire world and explores all the mythology in different ways. The school systems, the political infrastructure, the societal struggles of the entire country, it all feels familiar but fresh at the same time. As a prequel, it would be very easy to be tempted to connect everything and tie a nice little bow at the end of it all, but no, it plants these seeds, whether it be through visuals, references, these small exchanges of dialogue in the relationship between Snow, who's been wronged by the system and wants so hard to change it that those changes are turned back against him, and Lucy Baird, who's the first person who tries to see him for who he is and not judge him the way he expected her to do so. So that dynamic at the center really makes the story gripping and compelling because of 2 amazing performances, as well as a world that feels so different yet so familiar. It's easy to see how it becomes the Hunger Games, the Panem we know from the original trilogy of movies and books. Well, 4 movies, not 3 movies. The sense of scale and scope are massive and immediately apparent, worthy of the to-be iron grasp of President Snow. Because Coriolanus is our POV character, we get to spend so much more time in the capital, and it all feels so overwhelming. Even the rich people, even the favored citizens of Panem feel so small and insignificant when faced with the might of how the capital works, how the country works, how everything revolves around the annual Hunger Games. And you see all these familiar settings, all these familiar customs, but they all have this different twist to it. You can immediately see how from the 10th Hunger Games into the 74th, the pageantry, the glamour, the finance, they all overwhelm this as a televised event, as a production. In here, it's like this very humble telecast from the 1950s hosted by the father of Caesar Flickerman, Lucky Flickerman, and Jason Schwartzman absolutely kills it. He brings this sense of unawareness and dark humor to it all that really contextualizes the bleakness of everything we're watching. And the mentors in this film, they're not former winners of the Hunger Games. They're favorite students from the capital, the city where everything happens, where all the rich people live, where none of these people have to actually fight for their lives in the Hunger Games. And that causes natural friction because they're not only having to work with these people they see as animals from the districts, but they want their tributes to win because there's this plinth prize that will give them access to college where they don't have to pay anything. It's very good for you career-wise and for your studies. But their dynamic is electric, and it instantly clicks into something intriguing and alluring, which you can see why both sides are so curious about one another. And I gotta say, the balance between watching the telecast, the production, and the actual Hunger Games is much more well balanced in here than in most of the other films in the franchise. It is such a small arena at this point in time in Panem that the game goes by fast and it requires more careful strategy from everyone involved. So the tension is constantly at an all-time high, and there's tension from both sides. And all the mentors have to watch this telecast together. Because of that, whether we are in the arena with Lucy Gray attempting to outsmart everyone and just survive, or on the TV studio with Coriolanus Snow watching this and strategizing the best he can, leveraging what he has and what others have that he can use for himself, there's always tension on both sides, which is also elevated thanks to the fantastic Viola Davis, who eats every single scene she's in as the game maker. She is the mastermind behind all this, who had the idea, who creates new creatures, who creates traps, all sorts of things that are twisted and Machiavellian and go into these Hunger Games so people can watch children kill themselves. Viola Davis's presence in Coriolanus Snow's life is a fantastic juxtaposition to Lucy Gray's. She is the purity who appeals to his more human side. He's come from poverty. Him and his family are trying to survive every day, and he's just trying to gain the favor his father lost for his family in the face of Panem's political landscape. But Viola Davis, she sees that dark, twisted mind of his. She sees his great ideas and wants to explore them in the most demented, savage, perverted way possible. And you see him constantly going back and forth between the two of them. And it's just so fantastic to see Tom Blythe, who I've never seen before, offer such a nuanced look at future President Snow, moral decay all through this film. As he explores more of the world, as he sees more reality, everything starts being painted in a shade of gray. The way he sees it. No one is truly good, no one is truly evil. So what am I? This kid has a Ryan Gosling quality to his presence on screen, and I cannot wait to see more of what he has to offer. And to no surprise, Rachel Zegler is a charm to watch. She is wonderful in this film. She is feisty, but she is delicate. She is strong, but she is feminine all at the same time. And of course, she gets to show off her incredibly singing voice multiple times with great songs. She is absolutely captivating. I do feel that for a character they wanted us to identify by she sings, there's too little songs for that. Yet simultaneously, it feels like there's just too many songs at random moments in the film. But the songs themselves, they're powerful. They're fantastic. You understand why the character is singing in specific moments, but we needed more of those songs in the first 2/3 of the film. And it's in the last third of the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes that we get to explore of Lucy Gray more as a person living in impoverished District 12, and not so much Lucy Gray, the tribute. So we get so much more of the compelling relationship between her and Coriolanus Snow. It's also in the last third where the film begins to reveal more of its cracks, and it goes from a great movie into a really good film. And because the film is split into three chapter-like structures, part one, part two, part three, when it transitions to part three, it screeches to a halt. Thankfully, it quickly picks the pace back up and it starts to reveal more of its layers on a macro level, on the commentary on society and cautionary tale of it all, but also on the relationship between these two doomed lovers. It's here where you begin to see the film as a tragedy for both these characters and really for the entire country of Panem. But the pacing really starts to lag as it transitions. It's not smooth whatsoever. It makes sense within the story, but it lacks a lot of momentum. And because we can only explore these two on a personal level in that last third, it also feels all too abrupt and somewhat confusing in the way the story unravels itself by the end. Without getting into spoilers, there's just some beats in here that are very confusing and just feel too sudden. Again, this is the longest film in the franchise based on the longest book in the franchise. And while it feels they split Mockingjay, the smallest book, into two films, this felt like a little bit of overcompensation. They could have done a 3-hour film and 50 more minutes would have just allowed everything to breathe a little bit better. I haven't even talked about the rich costumes, the lavish set design, or even the once again epic score by James Newton Howard, who continuously crushes it in these films. His score, Rachel Zegler's music, are perfectly married in this film to create this soundscape that is so distinctively Hunger Games. All those qualities are there. The supporting cast is fantastic. I didn't even talk about Peter Dinklage, who is so haunting in this film, the small screen time he has. This is the best Hunger Games film ever since Catching Fire. It's a very close second. It's a closer number two than any previous film in the franchise was for me. So as I dive into my final thoughts on The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, that is a mouthful, man. It's time for you to start the conversation about it in the comments below. Who is your favorite Hunger Games character? What is your favorite Hunger Games book? Your favorite Hunger Games movie? And how long would you last in the Hunger Games? Would you win? Anything and everything down there. Start the conversation. And if you are enjoying this video, want to talk more movies and TV with me, this is the place to be. Consider clicking that subscribe button and you won't miss any future conversations on your favorite movies and TV. The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, has all the odds in its favor. A tragic yet fascinatingly compelling deep dive into the Machiavellian political underbelly of Panem, its societal corruption and control. Unsurprisingly, Rachel Zegler emanates layered grace. She is the heart of this film, while Tom Blythe's sensational nuance is a star-making performance. Keep your eyes on this kid, because he's gonna be president one day. I'm giving The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, a B+. Thank you so much for watching, Tributes. Let me know, what is your Hunger Games style name? There's a generator for everything, but I haven't found one for that. So let me know as you start the conversation in the comments below. And big shout out to my channel members for always supporting the channel. I'll be back very soon with more videos. So until the next one, love each other, love the movies, and may the odds forever be in your favor.